So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get into our upper bracket semifinal. Whoever moves on will be the one who is the victor, and whoever actually is the one to drop down to the lower bracket will be the ones waiting on in the lower bracket finals. But these two guys are very, very antsy and ready to go, and we are just gonna go for it. So our maps are pretty simple. It's our classic ZVZ in the PH scene, and it's Nightshade, Eternal Empire, as well as Simulacrum. So really, really good maps to play the aggression, play the rush, and get on through the diagonal. Nuks and EnDerr. These two guys, a tale over time, and honestly, these two guys have had a lot of history with each other. Teammates in the Cibal program as well as the SEA Games have really been really good friends in the scene and have been the number 1 and the number 2 respectively, not only in the race but in the whole Philippines itself. So honestly, you got to put your money on our reigning champion EnDerr, but Nuks always a worthy contender. Let's move into map number 1. It's Nightshade to start things off. As quick as can be, pretty much what we expect from these games as well. And let's get into this one. Welcome back, guys, to the SCPH Quarantined 30 Masters Plus bracket. I'm your host, Daks, and we are going to be seeing some ZVZ action into this one. Introducing first, though, on the southeast side of Nightshade, it's our red Zerg, Nuks. Taking down by Agster, as we saw on the broadcast, doing a really good job at busting down those walls, but his opponents is another kind of class and really the best of the best in the PH scene. On the top left, taking down Extinct from the previous round, it is our reigning champion, our defending champion, our gold medalist in the SEA Games. It's the blue Zerg, EnDerr. So already to notice, EnDerr one worker ahead, did go for the extracted trick just to start things off. And he is going to go for that hatchery to begin with. But in the meantime, got Nuks. Is he okay? Was he good? All good to go? And does he know what's going on? Does he see what's coming? Nuks, an absolutely amazing player in his own rights. He really is looking to prove something every single time. And he's putting in so much work, so much setup. And he's honestly looking to bridge the gap against EnDerr and really bring it to such a big level of competition in the global scene. I've been following Nuks for a very, very long time, honestly, casually, as well as just basically seeing his progress in terms of the brackets recently all around. And every single time he takes victory, I'm just like, it's really, really good for him, as it's just amazing. It's just such a amazing time that he's doing so well, especially in the regional scene. But Nuks is gonna see something interesting. That's a hatch. That's a hatch part of the wall. And he's gonna be like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. Proxy hatch onto the second, forms a part of the wall to really defend. And I think EnDerr is just remembering how Nuks has been playing things out from the previous bouts, and he's just gonna, I'm just gonna wall in. I'm gonna wall in the hatchery, and if you break this, that's gonna be a lot of broodlings coming your way. If not, I'm gonna use this for extra drones, then we should be good to go. So it's a macro hatch on the low ground of all things. Queens right now gonna be produced as well, and metabolic boost, of course, gonna be into the cards. But with Nuks realizing the situation, he's gonna be like, since you're not gonna go for third, I'm just gonna go for the third instead. Nuks, though, has brought in the Zerglings to fight EnDerr, has a defensive squad. And it is a 1-for-1 right there. Seems like EnDerr gonna be able to defend immediately with just all these hatcheries in position. In the meantime, Nuks is expecting the Zergling versus Zergling bout. In the ZVZ, it really is just about mirroring your opponents and trying to see how the matchup is gonna unfold. And well, Baneling's gonna be such a good way, such a big component to really shut down any kind of Zergling opposition. But Nuks right now giving chase, and they're in the meantime going over to that main base, realize the situation, gonna be not getting information whatsoever, and that is a good shutout there from Nuks, honestly. On the other side of the coin, though, seems like it is going to be 2 base Roach Ravager potential all in here from EnDerr. He's forming up the wall with the Evo Chamber with the hatchery, and he is plugging up that leak with the Queens as well. Range unit's going to be very, very potent in this regard. The Zerglings won't be able to really do much unless they get such a solid surround. Anyway, it's EnDerr right now going for the injects, really increasing as much as production as possible. Went for the cancel on that low building. Seems like he built the crawler that he doesn't really need, and he's gonna go for a double extractor onto his second to keep up with the gas count. Lertsek going online as well. See, for Nuks, he's assuming the worst. he knows he has to get that information on his opponent, and he knows that EnDerr is not really bringing in more Zerglings into the forefront, so he's assuming that there's gonna be Roaches right now from EnDerr, and he's gonna go for his own Roach Warren. I believe that's... Oh, did he cancel it? No, it's there. So the Roach Warren gonna be in behind on the second base, mainly gonna be in position as well to try and get the bust on. But the Queens are very, very tanky, that's for sure. That they are going to be really, really set to keep things up into the forefront. Confusion going to be absolutely huge. Range units as well to keep things alive into this battleground. And well, EnDerr. Roach is already online, ready to go. Third base now being taken here by EnDerr. But honestly, with a Nuks having a pretty big army, honestly. This is like a lot of Lings, a lot of Roaches coming the way of EnDerr. EnDerr only with 40 workers, though not the biggest lead, because he's only on 2 base. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Baitings right now looking for a bust. Doesn't happen. Queens into the forefront yet again. Roaches right now being produced, and EnDerr having to play defensively. He's on the back foot in terms of those numbers, but since he has these hatcheries, he can be set and ready to go. Good infiltration though from Nuks, and it is going to be the wall being broken. Nuks is looking to get on through again. Bailings right now into the middle line, and 6 of these drones make that 7 going down. EnDerr trying to fight for his life, but Nuks, with having more of these numbers, having a bigger army, into the base he goes, looking to go for the main. Can EnDerr keep things up on the defense? Nuks is just overrunning the opponents, and GG is called. Nuks with a victory, taking a little bit of revenge from the previous tournament. Well done and well played there by Nuks, and that is a victory under his belt. As we move on in right now to Eternal Empire, that was just a really interesting strategy there from EnDerr, looking to mitigate any kind of early aggression there from Nuks with a proper big wall, but hey, you know, it just didn't work, and we can go into Eternal Empire at any time. As we said, these two guys are always looking to put up a fight, to put up a show as quickly as can be. Clock in, clock out, do some time, and do the dirty work. But we are going to be moving into map number 2 very, very soon. So yeah, Eternal Empire next on the list. Nuks with a victory on Nightshade. Just the hatchery, very interesting. The hatchery is was something, that's for sure. It's like, hey, I'm gonna put a hatchery here. I'm gonna look to see how this works, and well, we can go into map number 2 any single time, boys. Really is gonna be a good setup between Nuks and EnDerr, and well, for Nuks, he has shown that he can turn things around in a way. He can just flip things over and do something a little different. And well. So impressive showdown there between Nuks and EnDerr so far. Can Nuks actually move on over to the grand finals here and beat EnDerr at his own game? Last time these guys faced off, it was EnDerr taking victory after victory and after victory in quarantine number 2. Well, really the ZVZ that defines the PH scene. That's pretty much all you can say. Now, who will have the edge here on Eternal Empire? I feel like for Nuks and his aggressive playstyle, he might have to go a little further in terms of getting to his opponent. It's still a pretty easy diagonal to traverse here on Eternal Empire, but compared to Nightshade, where it's a lot quicker, and that first map pick for Nuks really smart, allows him to play his kind of game. Here now, EnDerr and Nuks though facing off into map number 2, and let's get into our second fight. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Nuks right now with a 1-0 lead over EnDerr is looking to find his way home to the grand finals. And we'll see if the CVZ is going to be unfolding into that kind of setup. But here and now, on top right of Eternal Empire, one map ahead, looking really good, poised to take back his crown against his fellow Zerg counterparts. It's our red Zerg, Nuks. And his opponents, here on the other side of the map, on the bottom left, classic player. Never really go wrong betting on this horse. You got your blue Zerg, EnDerr. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, into another map on Eternal Empire. It seems like we are going to be getting those hatchery versus from both sides. Here goes a bulldog from Nuks. He is going to go for the extractor a little early on the early side, as well as EnDerr is just poking against his opponent as much as possible. But the spawning pool going to be in behind. Here we go with the hatchery right now being built. Well. It's going to be another hatchery here from EnDerr. into the front line. Okay, now I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing something, honestly. What is this about? Can someone enlighten me? Honestly, like, please tell me. As a lowly StarCraft plebeian, I need some blessings from the gods. Because if EnDerr does it, I'm just like, okay, don't worry, I'm not gonna even bother criticizing. This guy is the absolute expert in this race, in StarCraft 2 in the Philippines, and can't really go wrong with whatever EnDerr does. But we have seen that as soon as Nuks realizes what's going on, he's just gonna be like, I can go for a pretty safe third, and I can pretty much do whatever I want. Because you are investing a macro hatch at a very, very early time. So yeah, it seems like it's the same case, and Nuks will go for the initial Zerglings. He already has the pool in check, and he did get that gas to get a pretty early metabolic boost into this one. In the meantime, EnDerr lagging behind on the pool, because he does need a lot of minerals here to set up the hatchery. And honestly, if I'm looking at this, I would love to see EnDerr build a few crawlers to really reinforce his lines, especially since he's looking to play into that 2 base instead. But beyond all that, well, for EnDerr, he is going to go for a skirmish with the Lynx yet again. Nuks right now going for the scout though. And still ZVZ here and now. 4 Zerglings though versus 2. Nuks seeing exactly what's going on to the main base. 1 gas, metabolic boost still trying to come on up. Big advantage here from Nuks, and he will be taking his sweet time to get on that 3rd base instead. So it really goes to show that this hatchery is a really big investment, especially in the early game. And it slows a lot of things that EnDerr wants to do down. So he is going to be playing on the defensive yet again. Now he does want to go for the drone on up though to really maximize his profits on those 2 bases. But Nuks already going for the Baneling Nest, going for the Evo Chamber. It is going to be your standard stuff. Oh, Nuks going to go for the cancel instead. Very, very interesting. But he is going to be focusing potentially on roaches into the latter half. He is going to go for the lair tech into this one. So not the Banelings. He wants to go for the roaches. He wants to go for something a little stronger. He wants to be able to really put in the fight. More gas actually. And it might even be the Muleless into play. No, it's a Roach Warren. So yeah, as I say that, it is going to be the Roach Warren. Gonna be looking to brawl into the front line and shut down EnDerr and his antics. Anyway though, still gonna be Nuks waiting on the other side. Now Nuks has a lot of map control here. He knows EnDerr will be playing very, very defensively on his side of the map, and he is just happy to make sure this 3rd base isn't gonna be taken anytime soon. EnDerr though responding in time will be going for his own Roach Warren, I believe, and it is gonna be set out on the natural already. Now for EnDerr though, he has already invested a lot to get that gas out, and he's gonna get a big cycle of roaches to start things off. Working on the army count this time, a little different from the other game, wherein EnDerr didn't really have much of an army, but hey, it is what it is, and Nuks enjoying all the macro that he can do. For the time being though, it is still gonna be Nuks setting things up. We are gonna get the reconstitution ready online from our Roach Warren. In the meantime, seems like a run-on by is successful here for Nuks. He is able to get information, sees the lair tech already, goes for the pokes against the drones, and forces a few roaches as well to expose themselves. Anyway though, EnDerr on a little bit of a crawl in the middle of the map right now with those queens. In the meantime, Overseer flying on around, well, it's just EnDerr looking for a little bit of that creep spread through the Overlords instead. Anyway, 3rd base right now has been secured by EnDerr. He's looking to keep things up on the macro side, but it's Nuks in the lead with the workers. Needs to decide though how the army is going to be unfolding into this one. As time is ticking, +1 now. Looking to come online for EnDerr. He was able to get more gas earlier on, and he is going to be going for the investment with this upgrade. So it really feels like it is going to be a Roach versus Roach fight. But we'll see who's going to have the edge in terms of that micro, as Carapace now going to be on the list here for Nuks. He might be looking to get into Nidus Networks, and he might be looking to just get the Nidus Worm on the other side. Overseer though going to be in position. Changeling will get caught and turns into a little bit of goo there. But in the meantime, it's EnDerr right now running on around. The Overlord is going to be going for the creep spread as well. Still queens are abound. Overseer getting some vision, but it's spotted out by Nuks. It's so close, but it's a little too late there from EnDerr on the reaction. +2 now going to be next on the list, and the Roach is going to be there as well. Here comes the push down from EnDerr, and it's going to be a fight between these 2 Roach players. Now EnDerr taking a little more damage there as he moves on over to the north side. And in the meantime, here comes EnDerr right now, really piling on the pressure, but Nuks with a bigger army into the forefront. Where are those units though? It's very, very interesting because Nuks is only holding the line with all of this. It seems like it's all of a production instead. Attack going on two fronts, and they're looking to retreat after taking a little bit off the top there from Nuks. Here comes the eggs yet again. EnDerr, though, getting overrun. And this is Nuks having the advantage yet again. It is a matter of time there, and honestly, for Nuks, he had the advantage as soon as those eggs pops. But hey, EnDerr just would be like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm happy with what I got. I might have lost a little too much at the last part, but it is what it is, and I can reinforce the same way you did. So it's tit for tat, and oh my, indeed. Roach Warren, Tunneling Claws might be the show. Overseer right now going for the drop there with the Changeling. And EnDerr and Nuks cascading with the usual brawl here in Thermal Empire, but Nuks having lower firepower on both sides. EnDerr in the meantime still keeping things up. Here comes the Queens now, and it might be the difference maker. Nuks, interesting enough, has brought in a few drones there. Might be a little miss micro, or might be looking to expand instead. But seems like these roaches are going to be running on away, and cue the Benny Hill music, because it's the same old thing, but with different colors instead. Pretty close fight so far, and EnDerr and Nuks. It's not the same situation from last time where EnDerr was just beating Nuks on the defense and winning things out with the links. A lot more different flavor, and well, if either gentleman's agreement or something a little different. I love what's going on so far. EnDerr though with a very quick reaction, he moves on to the south side already. And the Nidus Worm, not gonna get too much value. Good shutdown there from our blue Zerg player. But seems like Nuks uses that as a distraction instead. Here comes the Roach right now into the front line, trying to get on through, trying to get in the way of EnDerr, but since the Tunneling Claws are online, well, it is going to be a little more shade here on EnDerr's Roaches. Here comes the chase right now, trying to make it through to the other side. Nidus Worm going to be there on so many forefronts. And the real question there is, does EnDerr actually have that burrow? Tunneling Claws, I believe, does not give you... It doesn't give you the burrow if you don't have it, but we'll see if EnDerr can actually get something done with that later on. As here and now, Nidus Worm right now being produced yet again. EnDerr and Nuks pretty even really on that army count, but the defender's advantage in favor of the blue Zerg, and Nuks has to retreat one more time. It's a roach off here and now, guys, and if you are afraid of cockroaches, you can't look, you can't see what is going on right now. Acid though being spit on both sides, and here we go again with the fight. Blue and red mixing together, trying to get things done. EnDerr right now really beating Nuks back. In the meantime, seems like it's on the base side. EnDerr is a little behind. Nuks able to take the advantage yet again. 7 workers ahead, 4 bases to go. Looking to get that rich rest speed just to be as efficient as possible. And it is going to be finally time to get that burrow. But will it actually make it out? Because Nuks is setting in the tone with more and more of these Nidus Worms. Now this is really, really pesky. And EnDerr is a little in between. If he's going to send a bulk of his army to really defend the Nidus Worm, or will he keep things posted into the front line? Because Nuks has a really substantial army right now waiting into the forefront. EnDerr sees this, and that is going to be goodbye to the Overlord, spotting things out. Well, good show between these two players, and well, Nuks right now still keeping things up on the pressure front. But EnDerr in the meantime has to go for an Overlord cycle, but he already has the armor count advantage, so it doesn't really matter by this point. I can't wait to see though what this burrow is going to be up to with Tunneling Claws. As here and now, it's going to be a fight in the advance all the way onto the 4th base that EnDerr's trying to take. Nuks beating back his opponents. And well, with burrow being upgraded, Nuks even going for the spawn larva real quick there. And nothing much on to the macro side for both of the players. They're really just keeping things up on the economy, trying to build a bigger and better bank. And they're both staying on roaches. As soon as one transition, sure, there will be the transition there. But the Hydra's then immediately torn asunder. What a spot there from Nuks. And they're in the meantime out of position and trying to give chase, but Nuks is happy to waltz on in to try and get to the natural end to the main. High ground now being taken here by Nuks, and they're going for the pokes in mid-transition. What a cluster on both sides. But it is finally Nuks able to get infiltration on, and they're waiting too long on the advance. And honestly, just a little slip up there from EnDerr, costing him his position into the advantage. Nuks keeping things alive though, but that is going to be a good surround here, and EnDerr potentially going for the bait and switch instead, just to destroy every single bit of the opposition. But EnDerr has lost a lot of drones there, 20 workers ahead right now for Nuks, and he doesn't really care that he is going to be behind on the army, because he's happy to reinforce all the way on the other side. But oh my, Nuks is going to take a little bit of damage here. EnDerr surprising with the Tunneling Claws, getting on through to the 3rd base. But still not going to be enough damage. Nuks with a pretty big lead into this one, as EnDerr is running out of money in behind. Now, I feel like what EnDerr did is very, very risky in many regards. Sure, you bait out your opponent to put the push on, but it does expose your middle line to a big degree, and well, that is it's just going to be enough there for Nuks to get some substantial damage and take a pretty big lead in terms of that worker count. But it really was also the fact that he was on 5 base, as Nuks now going to lose one of these hatcheries into the front line, because then it's going to be like, hey, I want you to not have this base, and goodbye to the setup there. And one thing EnDerr could have done is that burrow. He has the burrow for every single unit he has right now that can actually go into the subterranean mode. And he could have burrowed those drones if he wanted to really protect them. But hey, keeping up with the economy is the best thing EnDerr can do right now. And it is what it is. Hydralisk Tendo from EnDerr has finally come online. And it is going to be time for him to mix things up in the army count. Nidus Worm though will go down. And here for Nuks. He's still trying to set the tone with these nice networks, but the real question is, will it actually be enough in the first place? Anyway though, here comes the extractors right now being built, and EnDerr, Summoning Claws, looking to make it through yet again. By this point in time though, here we go with the Scream, and Nuks gonna get caught there along the way. Anyway though, all about the pokes here and now. Nuks and EnDerr really finding battlegrounds to face off. And it's a really big army on both sides. They're quite maxed out, honestly. It's pretty ridiculous to see how this one is going to be unfolding. But hey, Overseer's flying on around again. Here we do have the Roaches now sets in position. And these Tumbling Claws, such a big hamper on Nuks and his lines. Everywhere and anywhere, EnDerr can strike. And maybe his few Spore Crawlers might help things out on Nuks' regard, because if he has a detection, he can anticipate the attack. But anyway, 16 drones did go down on Nuks' side, and they're losing the same kind of number on the other foot. The advanced base is really somewhere to be wary of, and EnDerr has gone into some Lurkers. He's looking to get the Hydralisk then upgrade as well, but Lurkers right now packing a punch, especially against these Roaches and the Ravagers. Cascade is on point, and EnDerr looking to end things on a high note. Nuks losing a lot of army into this one. Such a big screech, all about reinforcements here and now, but EnDerr is taking position onto the high ground. He's going for a battle on two fronts, splitting up his army. Low dangerous though here for EnDerr right now, and he's losing things out in terms of that full DPS, but GG is called. EnDerr will take the victory. He got the position, he got the advantage, and Nuks could not keep things up, especially with the Lurkers in tow. It looked a little dicey there for EnDerr and the attack, but he was able to make things work because he had the spot, he had the proper position, and it was enough even with substantial losses. There you go, guys. Another round and another game taken, but EnDerr bring it back. And we are all tied up 1-1. Really goes to show when you get the tech switch a lot faster, then you are going to be able to really just change things up on that regard. But hey, that is basically map number 2 done, and Dusted Simulacrum going to be next on the list. And we'll see what's next here and now, as it's going to be time for our third map into this one. But hey, you know, Nuks and EnDerr, again, such a big rivalry, such a big matchup. And honestly, they're looking really, really good so far in this fight against one another. But with Simulacrum, it's going to be a little bit of the same thing, honestly. They might be looking to... Oh, race check. Race. Oh no, the race is wrong. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. Oh, let's get back. Oops. Relobby. Game heart rin pala. So let's just relobby real quick and fix things up. It was so close. It was like no. Invite to party. There we go. That was so close. Are we gonna get Terra and EnDerr? Oops. Very close, very close. But our third map again is Simulacrum, yes. So let's move into Simulacrum. Let's get these guys ready. It was funny. It was just like Nuks like Alt F4. No, we're not gonna start the game this way. I don't want to see EnDerr on Terran. It's not gonna happen. And yeah, referee ready. We're good to go. Yes, Nuks. If Nuks is ready, yep, let's go. Zerg versus Zerg. We are good. That's the funniest part. It's like race, guys. Don't forget to pick the race you actually play. But I'd love to see EnDerr and Terran. Honestly, I'd love to see him whip that one out. And I guess for Nuks calling it quits on that second game because he saw, oh, EnDerr's on Lurker already. I'm gonna have to really come. It's an uphill battle to try and play that tech, and well, if I can't do it, then I guess it's gonna be game, set, and match there already. But it seems like we are getting into game number 3. Both of our squads, both of our guys are ready to go, and let's get into the third and deciding match here in the semifinals. So welcome back, ladies and gents, and it's time for a little more ZVZ. We saw the roach off on the second game, and we are all tied up 1-1. Real question is though, who will be taking this bat, and who will be the one moving forward into this game? Introducing first, on the top left, the best of the best here in the PH scene, it's your Blue Zerg, and your defending champion EnDerr. His opponents, on the bottom right this time of Simulacrum, always a contender, always a champion in his own rights. Winning things out in game number 1, just didn't have the same tech on game number 2. It is what it is, and it is going to be his time to try and shine. It's our red Zerg, Nuks. EnDerr and Nuks, again fighting, and EnDerr is just being annoying, basically. It's like, please stop poking my drones, please stop poking my drones, and there's like, no, I'm gonna poke your drones, and Nux is like, okay, I'll poke your drone too. And yeah, just a poke off. The poke of doom, the finger poke of doom. You know, the thing that changed wrestling eventually. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye to the one drone. It tried, man. And here we go again. Hatchery into the forefront. And this is the third time seeing this, so it has to be something. This has to be a real thing. This has to be a real thing. So last game, with EnDerr taking the control of the map, basically on that last part, with the lurkers, with his position onto the third base, it basically cuts away the cascade potentially from Nux. Now, he could have really tried with the upgrades, he could have really tried with the Nidus form to bring things back, but it's way too difficult, especially in a battle like that. And since the armies were basically split and EnDerr still had him going for a concave formation, it's just a little too difficult, that's for sure. Eventually your DPS wouldn't keep up, and I can see why Nux called it there. Not having the right tech and not having the right position does cost you a lot in ZVZ, and it's very tiring to just keep on fighting when you really can't in the first place. So honestly, I do respect when these players call GG. It's these nuances sometimes, and it really is just how tiring this game can be, and you don't want to tire yourself out when you still have another chance, another game to go on. A lot of respect, honestly, for them knowing when to quit, knowing to go again. And well, you know, ZVZ, it's really interesting on especially the highest levels of play, because they can really maximize things as, whoa, Nux taking care of that one drone. EnDerr could not save it by turning it into a crawler, and it is what it is. Seems like some value there taken by Nux. And he's going for a third base already. So again, I do like what Nux is always doing. If he sees EnDerr play the hatchery as a wall, then he is gonna be looking to expand in behind, because basically they're spending the same amount of minerals, but it's Nux right now enforcing wherever he wants to set up. He's gonna have another mineral line, and he will basically have the same kind of egg cycles as his opponents. Hatchery as a wall ZVZ. I'm just like googling this right now. I have to figure out why this is a thing, and honestly EnDerr is showing me a whole new world, and I get it. Look at that. And look at this wall. Look at this wall. There's just a small little funnel for Zerglings, but it's just so well protected, honestly. it's just ridiculous. You see the ZVZ wall in, and I think, if I remember correctly, this was something being done all the way in 2011, 2015. The hatchery wall in, and it just protects you basically as much as possible, and it made a lot more sense, especially way back when it was just Zerglings straight to the roaches, no Ravagers whatsoever to mix things up. And you know, it's just something, man. But hey, it is what it is. As here more comes the Zerglings right now from after GG's called. That's it. That's the show. Too many Zerglings. Bait and switch there, and EnDerr will move on. Dude, I Google one thing, and the game is immediately over. Hi, this ZVZ, man. This ZVZ. The army count bubbling immediately. And you can never keep your eye out of StarCraft, can't you? Because that was just it. That was just it, honestly. That's just... I'm actually going for a rewind real quick so we have some time. I just want to show exactly what went on there, and well, just while I was talking about all of this, look how. Why is the game over? Why is the game over? It was done 4 minutes and 20. So yeah. Look at how Ender bubbles up on the army count, guys. So if he's at 7, he's at 8. This is when I'm like, okay, we can take a little break. We're gonna see the same kind of game. I can look on whatever the hatchery walden is, and so the Baneling Nest gets cancelled. That's a big deal because Nuks is expecting roaches again, and did EnDerr actually see that? Did EnDerr actually see that cancel come? Oh, he didn't. That's so unfortunate. So that's heartbreaking because EnDerr suddenly got a big number of Zerglings to turn things around. Nuks sees this. He doesn't have a Baneling Nest ready. He is not ready for this whatsoever. He was busy going for the pokes against the the Overlords, and as soon as EnDerr has the wings sprouted, GG is called. So there you go. That is, I love the rewind function. It lets me explain things a lot better. But holy cow, victory for EnDerr. He moves on to the grand finals, and EnDerr outfaces us Terran. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him whipping out for a tournament, honestly. But yeah, that's a win there. Well played to Mr. EnDerr. Moves on to the next round, and I guess we got to show what actually went on there. So yeah, that was just it. Such a small little change from EnDerr, making such a big difference. And honestly, well played that from EnDerr. Out mind gaming his opponents who expected it was the same kind of show, but apparently the show must go on in a different way. So yeah, that is gonna be the victory there for EnDerr. He takes game 1, he takes game 2 and 3 after Nuks with a very impressive first game victory. And well, we'll be looking to see how this is gonna be going on. We'll see what our next match is gonna be. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with the quarantine tournament number 3. This is the Masters Plus brackets.